Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, I am Alana Simone. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing my hair. I will be doing a perm rod set, and you guys have seen my perm rod sets before, and if you haven't, I'll go ahead and put those links in the description box below as well, so you can check those out. However, I will be doing them today to my hair as well. But I did want to come on here and have like a little chit chat with you guys, because I feel like it's been a little minute, you know what I mean, since we've had a little sit down situation and just talked. And I figured that I can do a little chat and hair, or hair and chat kind of situation here. So like I said, I'm going to be doing my perm rod set, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about the natural hair tips that I wish I knew sooner. And as you guys know, or if you don't know, I have been natural my entire life. I did have those periods where I wanted to get a relaxer, I wanted to texturize my hair, and my mom never allowed me to, so that was the end of it. So I never went through those particular experiences, but I have had my fair share of color damage, heat damage, having to cut my hair because it was damaged. So I decided to just come on here and share my tips that I wish that I knew sooner, like when I started to embrace my natural hair. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. I am going to a formal event this week, and I was going to wear my braids. I had braids in a couple of days ago, and you guys know I don't keep braids or twists in my head for that long, so I was like, yeah, they're not gonna make it the week. So took them out, washed my hair, blow dried it, and I'm gonna do something similar to how I wore my hair in California for my friend's wedding. I'll put a little reference picture here so you guys can see. So this, I started off with a perm rod set, and then I just picked it up into a little updo situation to make it look a little bit more formal and dressed up. So, and as you guys know, if you are natural, it is a journey. Sometimes I feel like it's a full-time job, a part-time job, because you definitely do have to have patience. You got to put in work. And I feel like as natural, sometimes we want results immediately. Like, we use a hair growth oil and we want inches tomorrow. You know what I mean? And we want all of the products that we buy and spend our money on to work. You know, obviously, we want everything to work for our hair. We want all methods to work. We want all products to work, because why not, right? But that's just, you know, that's just not how it goes a lot of the time, you know? And although I have been natural my entire life, I didn't really start to embrace my natural hair until like college time. So that's like 19, 20-ish was when I really started to wear my curls. And the only reason why I started to wear my natural hair in college was because I had a really good friend at the time, and him and I are actually still really good friends. And he was like, why don't you wear your natural hair? Like, your curls are amazing. Why don't you wear them all the time? And I was like, what? Because at the time, obviously I didn't know anything about products. So if I'm wearing my hair natural, it's just huge with no definition, no nothing. And he was like, yeah, your hair looks amazing. I was like, oh, okay. Shout out to you, Tim. But that was the only reason why I really started to embrace my curls. So from there, I started to experiment with different methods and different products and things like that. And that's kind of how we got here. So y'all better go thank Tim, because if it wasn't for him, I'd still be out here frying my hair every week. Definitely not trying to help anybody out, because I wouldn't know what I'm doing either. So just a little backstory as to how we're here. And you guys know, as a kid, when your friends have like pool parties and things like that, all of my friends had relaxers. Like, all of them. I was the only girl that was with the natural hair. And of course, back in the day, they didn't have the wide selection of products that we have now. So, I mean, and so just imagine you're at a pool party with all of your friends, and this is grade school, and kids are mean. So you come out the pool, and everybody else is coming out with the long, relaxed hair, and it's still straight, and they just whipping it. And here you come with the 1970s good times, moving on up, afro. So for me, it was definitely a very hard thing to accept that this was life. So I was somebody who, I was straightening my hair every single week, just to fit in with my friends and not be the only odd man out, if you will. Because, you know, being natural, it wasn't always a cool thing to have curly hair. So now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the 10 things that I wish I knew sooner as a natural girl. So number one, I wish I would have known that oil is a sealant and not necessarily a moisturizer. I was always under the impression that if I touched my hair and it physically felt oily, like my hands are oily, that must mean it's moisturized, right? But that isn't necessarily always the case. And I learned that there is actually a difference between a moisturizing oil and a sealing oil. It's two different things. And in my opinion, I feel like whether you're using a moisturizing oil or a sealing oil, I still pair both of them with a leave-in conditioner either way, because in my experience, I noticed that whenever I pair an oil with a leave-in, no matter which oil it is, that is how I get the maximum moisturization for my hair. Sealing oils help to increase the shine in your hair, but they don't necessarily help to moisturize your hair on their own. So sealing oils are oils that can penetrate slightly beyond the outer cuticle layer. You guys can do your own research to figure out which sealing oils will work for you, but I know off the top of my head, sealing oils include jojoba oil, castor oil is a sealing oil as well, and I believe rice bran oil is a sealing oil. So, and then in terms of moisturizing oils, these are oils that are more likely to penetrate the hair shaft. So moisturizing oils include coconut oil, palm kernel oil, there's another one, sunflower oil. Sunflower oil is also a moisturizing oil. So like I said, definitely do your own research, experiment on your hair, because like I said, what works for somebody else might not work for your hair. So for me, I always like to do a small section of my hair whenever I'm testing out a new product or a new method, anything like that, just to see how my hair feels. You know what I mean? So that is the first thing. Tip number 2, and this might be something that's obvious to a lot of you guys, but for me, I definitely learned it later on in my natural hair journey. So if you know it, great, and if not, hopefully I put somebody on. But I was always under the impression that whether your hair was straight or curly, if you wanted a bang or any type of bang look, you had to just cut your hair to get a bang. That was always the impression that I was under. I'm definitely guilty of it myself. I've cut my hair before thinking that was the only way to achieve a bang look. Through my natural hair journey, I realized that all you really need are some bobby pins and you can achieve the bang without cutting your hair. So like I said, might be obvious to a lot of you guys, like duh, all you gotta do is pin it up. But for me, that's something that I learned later on, that that's all you have to do. Because I feel like there are so many natural hair, I guess hacks would be the word. So that's definitely one of them. I'm sure there are plenty more out there. Tip number 3, I learned that over deep conditioning is actually a thing, y'all. Personally, I deep condition my hair once a week. That is what works for me. Again, everybody's hair is different. And you'll know if you're over deep conditioning your hair based on how your hair feels afterwards. Like once you rinse out the deep conditioner, how your hair feels, you'll know. If you rinse your deep conditioner out and your hair feels like mushy or flimsy or just looks like really limp, you might be over deep conditioning. And when I say over deep conditioning, I mean either deep conditioning too often or leaving the deep conditioner in your hair for too long. Like I know personally, I can't deep condition overnight. I don't like how it feels when I rinse it out. I feel like I did too much. Like a good hour is enough for me once a week. So like I said, you have to kind of know your hair and feel it out and just see what, you know, what is enough for your hair. This is why I say it's so important to pay attention to your hair and know what it feels like when it's moisturized and also know what it feels like when it's dry, so you can kind of determine what steps you need to take moving forward. And if you notice that you did over deep condition your hair, a good way to combat that would be doing a protein treatment. And protein treatments basically just restore your hair's elasticity to help it to bounce back. But there is also such a thing as too much protein. So definitely be mindful of that. And you'll know if you're using too much protein in your hair if it feels dry and brittle once you rinse out the protein treatment. All right, y'all, tip number 4. So, and this is a tip that I learned pretty recently. Have you guys ever used 2 products in your hair, right? And when your hairstyle dries, whether it's a twist out, a wash and go, a ponytail, whatever it is, your hair is like super flaky. So there's actually a way to help prevent that from happening. I recently posted a video on my Instagram demonstrating how I prevent that from happening. So I'll go ahead and insert that clip right here. So I start off by putting 2 products in my hand. So this is a gel and a leave-in conditioner. So we're gonna go ahead and mix her up. So she's giving very much cottage cheese. The only problem is that we're not hungry. So this will give you an idea of how the products are going to dry in your hair. So we don't want this. So we're gonna try another leave-in and a curl cream. And we're gonna mix her up. Okay, I know y'all see what's going on. She's giving smooth, creamy, glazed donut, if you will, okay? Now this is the consistency that we wanna see before we put it in our hair. Shoot, we ain't wasting no product today. I don't know what y'all thought this was. Get some. And guys, that hack will save you so much time and energy because there is nothing worse than having a bomb twist out with a side of frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody wants that. Nobody asked for that. We didn't request that. And yet here it is, you know? Tip number 5, wash your brushes and combs. Now, before y'all start, this is not something that I just learned, okay? I've been washing my brushes and combs, but I wanted to go ahead and just show you guys and explain how I wash my tools, what I do, the whole shebang, just in case anybody was curious. I wash all of my hair tools whenever I wash my hair, so that's once a week, and that includes combs, brushes, and the edges brush, y'all. Don't forget about that edges brush. She's got to get clean too. So what I do is, while I'm deep conditioning my hair, I'll take my brushes and just put some baby shampoo on my brushes, and then I'll use the brush to scrub the combs, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1, so you're cleaning both at the same time. And the reason why I use baby shampoo is because it's going to get the job done. It's going to clean my tools, but I'm also not using my expensive shampoo to clean my brushes. I'm just not about that life. So if that's something that you do, by all means, do what works for you. But for me, I mean, y'all know, these hair products ain't cheap. So I just use some baby shampoo, wash my combs, wash my brushes, wash my edges brush. And y'all remember that story I told you about getting my hair braided and that lady who never cleaned her edges brush trying to slick my edges. Nope. So it's very important to clean your tools, guys. Tip number 6. Now this is just something that I do personally. It makes my life a little bit easier. So I'm sure everybody does things differently. But for me, I like to shampoo and condition my hair in sections. Makes my life easier. I used to just shampoo all of it together, and I found that it caused so many more knots and tangles than if I were to just do it in sections. It's also really important to remember to detangle your hair when it is damp. So definitely not while it's dry, and not while it's sopping wet either, because your hair is more vulnerable and more likely to break if it's super, super dry or if it's super, super wet. So detangling while it's damp is, in my experience, the best way to detangle. What was that? Y'all, I done lost count. We on tip 6, tip 7, tip 8. I think we're on tip 7. So tip number 7, and this is something that I've always known, but I never really, I guess, took it seriously up until a couple of years ago. I used to go to sleep just normal, not tying my hair up, not wrapping my hair. And obviously my pillowcases were cotton, so I didn't realize how much cotton actually sucks out the moisture from your hair. So I'm waking up and wondering, why does my hair feel all dry? And I wasn't sleeping with satin or silk. So for me, every night, let me get my bonnet. If I don't have my bonnet, where's my satin pillowcase? Sleeping with satin or silk on your hair helps to retain the moisture as well as prevent breakage. Definitely a really important tip. I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew that, but I wanted to share anyway, just in case you guys didn't know. So tip number 8, I learned that there are different ways to get curls or waves in your hair when it's straight. Let me explain. So whenever my hair was straightened, I always assumed that in order to get some type of beach wave or beach curl, I had to go in with my flat iron or go in with my curl wand to achieve that look. However, I had no idea that there are so many other methods out there that can get you that same look without reapplying heat to your hair. So there is the wraparound method. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. It's a heatless curls method. I did an Instagram video on it. I believe I did a YouTube video on it as well. So I'll go ahead and put that link below for reference. And that is definitely an effective method. I've used that a couple of times in the past. In addition to that method, there is the old school method, oldie but goodie, of the roller sets. And you guys have seen me do roller sets in the past. I love a good roller set. I feel like it just gives you so much body, so much volume, but still being able to have that sleek, straight-ish look. Both of those methods are very effective in my opinion, so if you guys are interested in seeing those, I will go ahead and put those in the link below as well. Tip number 9. I feel like we've all been there with single strand knots. Like, we've all been there, right? And the first thing that I always wanted to do whenever I saw a single strand knot was to just pull it out. Just yank it out, be done with it, and that's it. And I did that for years. And I learned that you are not supposed to pull out your single strand knots, y'all. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to get a pair of shears, hair cutting scissors, and snip them off. Because what happens is when you pull out a single strand knot, your hair is snapping, right? So that can either cause one of two things: more single strand knots or split ends, or both. So that was something that I was noticing, that every time I pulled out my single strand knots, I'm getting all these split ends. I'm like, what's going on? And so that was the problem, that I was pulling them out. So if anybody's pulling out their single strand knots, just keep that in mind. Personally though, I feel like when it comes to single strand knots, it's almost inevitable when it comes to curly hair, just because our hair naturally wants to do this around each other, right? So I feel like 80% of naturals have experienced single strand knots or a single strand knot at some point in your natural hair journey. So they're not something that's uncommon, they're not out of the ordinary, but there are ways to go about handling them without pulling them out. And keep in mind, single strand knots are not as a result of not taking care of your hair. So don't feel bad if you get them and think that, you're not taking care of your hair, but there are certain ways that you can help to minimize single strand knots. So that's making sure you keep your hair moisturized, sleeping with satin or silk to prevent that friction while you sleep, and making sure that you're getting your regular trims as well to get rid of those dead ends. Bonus tip here: if you are natural and you're thinking about coloring your hair, there's a couple of things that you should keep in mind before you color your hair. When I decided to color my hair in college, my hair definitely suffered. And at the time, I thought that my hair wasn't growing. So what was happening was that the ends of my hair were colored and breaking. So my hair was growing, but because my hair was breaking so much, it appeared that my hair was not growing and it just stayed the same length. Because colored hair is more prone to being dry, which can lead to breakage. Like, I could physically feel that the colored pieces in my hair were much more dry than the rest of my hair. Coloring your hair may change your curl pattern. Now, I say may because everybody's hair is different. In my opinion, if you're going to color your hair for the first time, I would go to a professional. Make sure you do your research before you go to anybody, because color is not something that you want to play with. I hope I didn't scare you guys off from coloring your hair, but I did want to share my experience so y'all can have all the facts. My last and final tip, guys: it is not a protective style if you are not protecting your hair before you put that style in. I'm just gonna say it, okay? You can't call it a protective style if you're not taking care of your hair before you put that protective style in. So for instance, whenever I'm putting braids or twists or any type of style in my hair, I always make sure that I deep condition, make sure my hair is nice and moisturized before I put that hairstyle in. In addition to that, protective styles should not be a style that's super, super tight or a style that's going to cause a lot of tension on your scalp. In my opinion, these are just my opinions, just my thoughts when it comes to protective styles. I've made that mistake in the past. The first time that I ever got twists done in my hair, I was 17 and I got rope twists done. And at the time I didn't know that, one, the style's not supposed to be tight to where you can't put your head down. And two, I didn't know that you're supposed to leave all of your edges out. And I left that salon and I'm like, what is going on? My head was hurting. I had a headache for the rest of the day. And the twists were so tight that I started to get those little tiny bumps along my hairline. That's how tight the hairstyle was. Like I said, I didn't know about the whole edges thing, so she literally did twists all along the perimeter of my hair, in my edges, like those heavy rope twists. So when I took the hairstyle out, I had no edges. That's the first thing. And my scalp was just in so much pain from the amount of tension with that hairstyle. But again, I didn't know. That was my first time getting any type of braids or twists done on my hair. So, you know, when you know better, you do better. And now, whenever I get my hair done, I always start by telling them I don't want it tight. I don't even care if they're loose. I don't care if they're not gonna last. They're not staying in past a week anyway. So please don't tear my scalp off when you braid my hair. And I always tell them to leave my edges out as well. So that is it for the natural hair tips that I wish I knew sooner. I'm not quite done with my hair yet, but this definitely helped the time to go by very quickly. So I appreciate y'all for that. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing how I will be styling my hair for this formal event, but maybe I can throw up a little clip or two of how I plan on doing it. But if you guys have any additional natural hair tips that you just found out or tips that you want to share just to help somebody out, go ahead and drop them below in the comments. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And be sure to check out those links that I left below in the description box if you're interested. Again, I am Alana Simone, and I will see you guys next time.